Hello and welcome to lesson number 9 in how to read music. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about more of the F ledger lines, more of the F notes. And what you will discover are the note names on the ledger and the piano, and the treble and bass clefs for F. So we have more music notation, more music names. As again, don't get stuck in the mud. If you are having a few difficulties, please do raise your hand, post a question on Facebook and the private members group, and I will get back to you. Here I've got a keyboard on a picture on the video, a keyboard here where I've got some notes on them. The black note is middle C, the yellow note is the F, which sits directly above middle C. And then further up, an octave above, we have a note, a circle which I've coloured red. And that is going to be an octave above the F, the yellow F. And then you can just see that if you go to the left of the middle C, you're going down into the bass clef area, so it's getting a bit lower. And this is going to be the F below middle C. So on the next slide, we've got, you can see the middle C there. You can see the F, which is now coloured in black. You can see a note on the F an octave above, which is coloured in red. If we go back to the left of middle C and the bass clef, you can see a note which is coloured in green, so that's one octave below that other F. And then we've got another note which is coloured in purple, and that's an octave below the green F. So you can see quite clearly there the different Fs, and of course they are spaced evenly because they've got even intervals. They are all an octave apart from each other. And now I've got the stab on the video. I've got two stabs. I've got one with a treble clef and one with a bass clef. And I rotated the ledger lines so that you can see how they match up together with the piano keyboard. And we've got middle C right in the centre of the two stabs. And then we have, coloured in blue, we have the F, which is just above the middle C. It sits in the first space of the treble clef. And then we have an F, which is just below middle C, sitting on the top space, on the fourth space of the bass clef. And now on the next slide, we've got the two stabs here. We've got the F here coloured in blue, which is just immediately above middle C. We then have the next F, which is an octave high, coloured in red. And this is appearing at the very top, very, very top line. It's on the fifth ledger line. So the first F is appearing on the first space, but that's in blue, and the next F, which is an octave higher, coloured in red, is appearing on the fifth ledger line. That's in the treble clef. Now we're going to move to the bass clef. And on the bass clef, we have the F, which is coloured in green. Now this is on the fourth ledger line. It also happens to be the ledger line where the bass is circling around it, where it's got two little circles around the fourth ledger line. Now, do you remember when we went through terminology of the music signs for bass clef? I explained that the bass clef has got another name, and the other name for the bass clef is the F clef. And the reason is that the bass clef originates and sort of hovers around, is based around the fourth ledger line. And any notes on that line with a bass clef is going to be called an F. So this particular F, if you see any notes on the fourth line, that means you're going to play the F immediately below middle C. And then if we go down to actually just off the bass clef, we've got a little circle coloured in purple, which just sits in its own space just outside the bass clef. And that's one octave below the F. So get this picture in your head, get familiar with where they are, and you can see there's also another pattern. So you've got the F, the green note sitting on the fourth ledger line in the bass clef. Well, if you sort of just move it up one, if you go up to the treble clef, you've got the red F note sitting on the fifth ledger line instead of the fourth. And then on the treble clef, you've got a note, coloured in blue, the F sitting on the first space. Well, when you go back down to the bass clef, you have another note sitting on a space, but it's just outside of the bass clef. So it's a similar sort of pattern. And then on this diagram, on the next slide, we have the staff. I've rotated the staff and I've shown it right next to the piano keyboard. So you can see I've got the arrows pointing from each note. So we've got the F, starting with middle C, we've got the F, which is coloured in black, and that's the one closest to middle C. And then if we go to the left, we've got the F note, which is coloured in green, and this one is the one that's sitting on the F clef. It's sitting on the line where the bass clef is sort of making its home. And then if you go to the left again, so I think this is pretty straightforward now. It's a similar sort of pattern with all these notes. I think you'll be getting the hang of it by now. Right. So you need to do an exercise at home, just like you did in the previous videos. Please draw your own 2 sets of staffs and draw the treble clef and bass clef on it. Start off by drawing middle C just to center yourself, and then draw the 4 lots of Fs on there. And if you have colouring pens, you can colour them in as well. And then also draw your own keyboard and draw your circles, draw your notes on the keyboard and letter them, label them with the letters, and then use diagrams to connect the notes on the keyboard to the notes on the staff. And make sure you do this in the next 5 days. Please take photos of the homework that you've done and upload them into the Facebook private members group. And yes, just a reminder to do the work, make it real. Draw the F notes on the staff and mark them with a corresponding letter name. Draw your own keyboard and name the F keys and draw a line to match these F keys on the keyboard to the F notes on your staff. And that's at the end of lesson 9. Congratulations, we're almost there. I shall see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.